do we have to go back to the regions to do that, or do we just, since we say we're operating a federal system, do we strengthen the federating units and then let that be?
There's no question about that. The federating units, which may now be, instead of regions, which may now be the 6 zones, and I think there should be a 7th zone actually, because if you look at Lagos, Lagos is like 10 African countries put together. And so I think that Lagos on its own needs to be a zone. But apart from that...
If you strengthen the regions, wouldn't that then dissipate into other regions?
Oh yes,
Would
that
you
is the
then
goal.
need to strengthen or have a 7th one?
Yes, I'm saying as an addition, I believe that Lagos has to get a special status in whatever new arrangement we're contemplating. The zonal structure has to be strengthened. Power has to devolve to these federating units so that Nigerians can now have a sense of belonging, which is not there.
You know, these are some of the issues that led to the conference. And for some, they say we would have just adopted some of those, then we should have adopted most of the recommendations from that conference before the elections.
Well, you know, the problem of constitution making is not something that you can do in 6 months. When we finished the national conference, we finished, I think, in May or so. Now the report is out, the recommendations are there. Politicians, you know, like Chief Mko Abiola used to say, you cannot clap with one hand. Not all the political leaders even bought into that conference, important as it was. So you need a consensus of our political leaders to decide that, look, Nigeria truly needs real change. We need real change, not cosmetic change. What we're fighting for now is the change of beneficiary. Whether the current beneficiary is re-elected or a new beneficiary comes. But that's not what Nigeria needs, because there are fundamental problems that has to be addressed. And so that's why we're saying to whoever wins, whichever party wins, you must express a commitment to address the burning issues of our nation.
But the question is, isn't it now that we should be getting them to address? Because shouldn't that also be the basis upon which they get elected?
Exactly. And so we're saying that Nigerians should task these parties on what they want to do about the restructuring that Nigeria so much needs for us to really move forward. Without that, we're going nowhere.
You know, it's more or less like a question and answer session, and it brings me back to you know, your campaigns, rallies, debates. Are we getting answers from candidates? Because such questions you have posed would mean that well, we already know the problems. Are we getting answers from the political class?
No, I don't think we're getting enough answers. I think that we need to task our political leaders on these critical issues about the national question. Nigerians do not have a sense of belonging. They don't feel that they have a stake in Nigeria. So how do we get Nigerians to buy into the Nigerian project? People have said that Nigeria is only a name on paper.
Can a debate amongst candidates, between candidates, sort some of these things out?
No, I think what the debate, objectives of debates really, is to assess the preparedness of political leaders, of political gladiators, on what are the plans, what are their programs for the people. For those who are already in power, what have they done? What do they hope to bring to the table to impact the life of their people? So debates are good. They're an essential part of democracy. They strengthen democracy. People get to ask questions. People get to listen to those who plan to lead them or those who are already leading them.
Talking about the electorate, I mean, are we asking enough questions of our leaders? Because you're talking about restructuring. In all of the plans and programs that they've put out there, I mean, if they haven't spoken up about restructuring Nigeria, which you think is key, then do you see the people asking them, look, you need to speak about these issues?
Oh yes, I think people need to task those who are aspiring to positions of authority on the plans they have to make Nigeria a stronger entity.
I mean, do we consider it serious enough about the question of restructuring the country, or supporters just think, look, well, this is our reason, it's good enough for us to seek to vote for whoever we want?
I think that is very germane, is very critical. Whoever does not address these issues is only postponing the evil day. Look at the violent language that's coming from some sections of the country. That speaks to the core of the need to address the national question. Because people are agitated, people think that they have a right to be part of the Nigerian project, and so they get violent when they think that that right is going to be abridged. But it's part of the problems, the inherent problems that is in the foundation. A house that is built on a faulty foundation cannot stand.
You know, but at the end of the day, the elections will hold whenever it holds.
Yes.
What do you see happening afterwards?
I think that if we task aspiring leaders sufficiently enough, to the extent that we can extract a commitment from them that the burning issue of the national question, of a new national order, is going to be addressed, then Nigerians can have great expectations for a great future for our nation.
How much can we rely on this commitment if we extract it from them? Because people have talked about, oh, after all, they came together, 12 political parties who are contesting for the presidential elections, and signed that peace pact. But how has it trickled down to their supporters?
Well, like I said, it all boils down to the problem of the foundation, because people believe that they do not have enough stake in the Nigerian project. And so, when their position is threatened, they resort to violence. What has happened in parts of the North is condemnable, and I'm happy that the leaders of the opposition party has condemned the pelting of the president, the harassment of the presidential motorcade and all that. Down south, people are already threatening fire and brimstone. But all this is coming out because there is stricture in the system that needs to be corrected without delay.
All right, and we'll have to let you go there. Mr. Tunde Macalabi is a convener, Professionals for Change. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you.
We'll be back after this break. We've got another perspective coming up on the elections. Join us again.